Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of the one and the only Mr. Doddie Weir, welcome to Doddie Aid, the captain's chat. And have we got a lineup for you? You know who they are because you're following them. You are in their team. Imagine being able to say you are in the team with those guys as your captain. Magnificent. The totals are outstanding. The numbers are off the charts. My name's Bruce Aitchison, and I'm going to be your host for tonight, our magnificent event sponsored by the one and only Genius. And Jim Hamilton is on Buffalo Watch, so be very careful, gentlemen, when you're on the screen. We have quite the lineup for you. We've got John Barclay. Needs very little introduction. We've got Davy, Edinburgh captain, and just fresh from the pages of the evening news because he's becoming such a star. We've got Big Jim, who has got a little moniker for himself on the screen. Look out for that one, and his spelling is correct, unlike when Doddie made his appearance on Lorraine. Did you spot it? I didn't, but it was pointed out to me. Kelly Brown from Glasgow. He's not really from Glasgow. He's not really from Glasgow. And Rory Lawson representing the South, who is about to get off his spin bike because he is churning out some miles on Zwift to add to the total. It's going to be magic. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for everything you're putting into the pot, both in miles and those pennies. The totals are absolutely magnificent. Rob Wainwright, who is in my phone in capital letters, Rob Wainwright. When he phones, it's like, Rob Wainwright. Rob Wainwright has given me the totals, and they are absolutely to the point where the numbers are too big that I'm not sure I can say them. That's how good you lot have been. We are joined by heaps of people online. There is a comment section. Be nice. Be very nice. We've already got people tuning in. Andy, who is an absolute superstar. Hashtag Rugby Scotland. Andy is a great supporter. Linda is in. We've got Graham Bateman. We've got all sorts going on. And it's good to see Team Exiles have actually recruited some people. Isn't that good? Jim is now not on his own, and he's got a backroom team that is making Clive Woodward blush. It is so, so big. But tonight is sponsored by Genius Brewing, and the man behind Genius Brewing is my stunt double, Mr. Jason Clark. Look at that. It's like a split screen. Hello, Jason. How are you?
Hi, Bruce. How you doing? I think I'll take it as a compliment that we're like separated at birth, twins. I'm just the older version by about 10 years.
Well, I'll take that. I'll take 10 years. Now, you've got your Genius Brewing T-shirt on. Talk to us about Genius. Talk to us about your relationship with the great man, Doddie Weir, and the foundation.
Well, we launched Genius Brewing in 2018 to make healthier drinking a pleasure, not a compromise, basically, with our beer that's got a bit less alcohol, low calories, and hopefully still tastes great. But it was at the same time that we launched that Doddie's foundation was just really getting going. And we always wanted to do something that was important to us as a business beyond the product. I was at school with Doddie, played rugby with him at Doddie, with Doddie at school. And also my wife's father died of MND. So it was a bit of a no-brainer to get alongside the foundation. And we've been working with them now for just starting our 4th year. And we donate 5p from every can of our beer. Doesn't matter where you buy it, where it's sold, 5p from every can goes to Doddie's foundation.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, the support you've given. And what are you thinking about this, Doddie? How good has this been?
I think everything about the foundation's journey has just exceeded everyone's wildest imaginations. I'm sure Doddie's his own. He could never imagine it's got to what it's got to, the amount of money it's raised, and how it's just raised the consciousness of MND across the country, beyond rugby, beyond Scotland. It's huge. Look at the money we raised. It's about £6 million now, and MND is not something that people just don't understand anymore.
Those figures are just bonkers, aren't they? £6 million, and most of that is driven because it's Doddie Weir.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Doddie's just a huge character. He's put so much into what he's doing now, and he's an easy guy to get behind, isn't it? But I think it's the whole network effect today. We've lived this last year almost on Zoom like we are now, and here we are in lockdown again, not able to do some of the big fundraising events that the foundation's been doing over the last few years. So the individual contributions of people who are at home like we are, or getting out just for a walk, a run, a cycle, these individual contributions now are making a big difference to the foundation, because it's a lot of small amounts that make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been superb. And tonight, Genius feature as sponsor, but what have the captains got up their sleeves tonight?
Well, what we're going to do each week, we're going to reward individuals from each team who the captains have identified as making a particularly good effort, and that could be the amount they've raised, or the effort they've gone to raise it, or just the imagination maybe they've put into to raise it. And everyone who the captains choose will wing them a 12-pack of our beer, which will hopefully motivate them to keep going.
Brilliant. Well, Jason, it's been great to have you along. Sit back, relax. Your job is now done. Thank you for all of your support. And I'm sure the winners are going to be delighted when the 12-pack arrives on their doorstep. I bet that one will not be left with the neighbours, put it that way.
Thanks, Bruce.
Brilliant. Cheers, Jason. Great to see you. And it's good to see Dougie Vipond in the comments, who is supporting Team Northern Midlands. Andy Nichols in there as well. Come on, the Northern Midlands. Tell you what, the Northern Midlands are on fire at the moment. They've got the whole of Orkney. Everybody in Orkney is doing Doddie Aid. It is brilliant. It is bringing people together, but not bringing them together. We're all doing this safely and within the rules, Boris and Nicola, we promise. Now, you're not here to listen to my nonsense. Let's bring on our first captain. He is former Scotland captain, a man who has touched silverware for Scotland, captain of the team who has just raised the bar for the Northern Midlands. It is the one and the only Mr. John Barclay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are we getting on?
Yeah, very well. It is good to see you. Now, a question came in early, John, and I think it's directed at you. The question was, how old are your children, and is this just an excuse for you to get out the house?
I'm in my house, so the second part, that's not right. My children are 7, 4, and 3. Just turned 3. So they're next door. No, I thought I was getting out of bedtime tonight, but my wife has just decided to let them stay up a bit later. So
okay, perfect.
That's me scunnered.
Have you been out on the bike today? Have you been out for a run? What have you been up to today?
No, I'm sure Jim was going to tell you. I've managed to hurt my knee running. So my wife's a physio, so she's told me if I have any intentions of getting out and running and cycling, I need some sort of cartilage problem. But I've been out walking the dog, so. And that's the great thing. All the miles count. So I've been out. I took the dog for a couple of mile walk today.
Now, what made you get involved in this and become captain?
When Rob Wainwright phones you, you don't have many choices, do you? No, Rob phoned me. And we'd kind of spoken. He'd mentioned this a while ago, actually, and it didn't really get off the ground. And I got involved. I got involved. I cycled about 20 miles, and they cycled 500 to Murrayfield last year, and they all got me to the front of the queue, and I was a bit embarrassed about that. No, when Rob phoned, you say yes, and I think, like most of the guys here, if there's anything to do with Doddie, the guy, if they can help, they will, because that's kind of the mark of the man. And on top of that, there's not a lot else to do at the moment. So, we're all at home, we're all a bit bored. And I think you touched on it, bringing people together after people up and down the street, whatever. Just say to me, and you've been out running and you've run past people with headbands on it. And it's nice to, at the moment when we're all at home, all a little bit bored, have a bit of fun with it. And that was kind of it.
What's the WhatsApp group chat like with the Northern Midlands management team?
Oh, it's pretty straightforward. We don't have to say much, do we? We're miles ahead. So,
well,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Talking about miles ahead, look at this. You've got 6,200 members, which is miles ahead of anybody else.
It's genuine. I find the whole thing. You talk about the power of bringing people together. I almost feel a bit embarrassed. My wife kind of teases me because. We've been asked to be the captains. We've actually done very little other than put a few things on Instagram or Twitter. But that's the power of it, and it says more about Doddie than it does about us. But yeah, people just want to get behind it, and I think people want to get behind Doddie. They want to get behind anything that is going to help him and help MND research and raise money and like you say, have a bit of fun with it.
And who's knocked your socks off? Who gets your captain's award for Team North and Midlands?
So we were chatting before. There's a guy called Martin Johnson. I was going through my the donations, and the guy, I think his target was 300 quid, and I saw he'd raised like 500 or something % above that. And then I found out, you told me that he actually has MND, so the tie in there. And there's a lot of people we've spoken to, a lot of people who are involved in this that have MND. So I used to play football in league. So for me, anyone that's managing to raise that much money in a week and it has their sort of heart that close to the cause is worthy of it.
He's an absolutely top man, Martin Johnson, and one of my favourites is when Martin was diagnosed, he got a phone call and it was from the big man. It was from Doddie who gave him a call. Absolutely brilliant and very worthy. So, Martin, you've got a thank you to your captain. He's chosen you to have 12 Genius wing its way to you very, very soon. So if you can get in touch with Jason at Genius, that would be top drawer. Now, John, I'm looking at the figures here. I think you are almost at £137,000 for North and Midlands, and you've almost tipped 170,000 miles.
It's a lot of miles. It's a lot of money.
That's the people in Orkney must have walked every path in Orkney. I think, has it got quite competitive between the islands on the west coast?
I think there's one road, isn't there, on each of them? So just go round and round. There's not a lot else to do, I don't think.
I think if you win this at the canter that it looks like it's going to be, but we're still quite early, I think you're going to be given the freedom of the Western Isles.
Definitely a trip there would be fun.
Yeah, I think you'd be well looked after, definitely. So what's the message? Is it just keep going, or is it recruit your granny and your auntie and your wee brother?
All of the above, I think, isn't it? Look, I think that I've never been involved in a challenge like this that goes on for 5-6 weeks. So it's kind of trying to keep a bit of momentum behind it, isn't it? Try and get people signing up, and a few of the guys have put out videos. It's not a case of it's too late to join. You haven't missed the jump, so and like if everyone just gets one more person involved, it will be on to a good thing. So yeah, just keep going, keep people involved, keep raising money, set up your own challenges. Like I said, there's nothing else to do.
There's a great message in from Martin saying, thanks, John, really appreciate that. Credit to many others for the fundraising. Martin, you're an absolute star. Brilliant. And John, we've got a question for Dougie Vipond. How many miles have you done?
It's not about me, it's about the team. I don't know.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. You need to. You're galvanizing the other people.
No, that's what leadership comes in many different forms, doesn't it? So no, I actually have been out. I've been running. I ran my first 10K ever the other day. So I ran 10K. I've been running 5Ks, and I've realised that I'm probably not the right shape or size to run that far. So that's before my knees sore. So I'll be out on my bike. And I committed to running 100 miles in January, which I still think I'll do. Now
you're captain of Team North and Midlands, but where are you pounding the streets?
On the water Leith. So and there's I've not seen many Edinburgh headbands around there. Maybe that's where they're going wrong.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we've also got our Edinburgh captain just waiting in the wings, and I think it's time we brought him in, because I think there's a little bit of trash talk going on here. Is Super Davy there waiting to come in, our Edinburgh captain? Davy, you're getting pelters here. John's saying he's not seeing many Edinburgh headbands.
John needs to go walk some of his own streets and get off my turf.
Davy, it is brilliant to see you. How happy are you with Team Edinburgh so far?
Team Edinburgh are absolutely smashing it. We're a week in now. We're comfortably mid-table. We've got some work to do, catching the South, North and Midlands. But our game plan's coming together.
Your game. I'm looking at this, Davy. You've got 3,115 members. John has got 6,200. How can you compete with that?
Well, I think over the next few weeks, it's going to show the quality and caliber of our members rather than all the sheep John's managed to recruit to his team.
Careful. So, have you seen John out and about on your patch?
No, I think I'm a captain who lives by example. So I've been out on my bike and running on most days. So I haven't seen John around too much yet.
Yeah,
I'm running too fast. You said I should be running in North and Mids. We'd get mobbed there. We're doing such a good job. We're like celebrities in North and Mids. We're just trying to drum up a bit of support in the other districts.
No, don't join North and Midlands. Go and give them a hand. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, exactly. No, not quite. We're not quite there yet.
John, it's been brilliant to have you along. We're going to let you go and put the kids to bed and enjoy another couple of cans of Genius. But thank you for joining us and keep up the great work, Captain.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. JB. Thank you. Davy, the stage is now yours. Now you are up to all sorts of nonsense. You are inspiring by doing. What on earth are you up to? Talk us through some of the nonsense you've been up to.
Well, I've been, I suppose I got off the blocks and I got rather naked up on the Pentland Hills, and I tried to inspire a few of the other captains, which I'm yet to see. Kelly Brown I've seen in the buff, but I managed to do a backflip up off on my snowboard jump, which kicked things off for the new year. But it's not about nudity, it's about getting the miles in, and Team Edinburgh have been storming over the last week, and we've got a few major recruits coming through over the next few days.
Now, one of the recruits that was announced today has got some previous
cycling experience.
He's all right. I've heard that lad Hoy for just along the road here. What's
big Chris Hoy. He's he's got big thighs and he can push the pedals better than anyone else on the planet. You add Mark Beaumont, round the world record holder, to our team. I think although Team Edinburgh, we're the home of Scottish rugby, of course, but we're, I suppose, the unofficial cycling team as well.
Yeah, the picture that was on social media today caused quite a stir, I think.
It wasn't just the thighs.
Trying to hide this bit, and you only got to see the midriff and lower limbs. It didn't leave a huge amount to imagination, did it?
It didn't. It wasn't just the thighs that were drawing people's imaginations there.
What's the chat been like with your WhatsApp group and your leadership team?
I think we've had a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. We're talking about different strategies. We've been pulling a few people in. Stephen Warnock is an absolute pleasure to have him on board now. And the banter is flowing, and we're looking forward to what's coming up in the next few weeks.
There's a lot of love coming in for you on the comments, Davy. Look at that. Doogie Vipe, the drummer for Deacon Blue, who doesn't like noise. Like, get over that. What's that about? You've got a drummer that doesn't like it when it's too loud. But Doogie Vipod said Davy is a total star. How cool is that?
It's I'm humbled. It's made my day.
But Davy, you've done heaps of this nonsense before, haven't you? This is a walk in the park for you.
Well, in terms of fundraising, of course, I've known Doddie for a couple of years now, but under very difficult circumstances. Unlike thankfully, unlike a lot of the other captains, I've got real skin in this game. But the fact that I was diagnosed with motor neuron disease in 2018, so just a year after the big man Doddie. And I mean, since then, Doddie's been a real inspiration to me. His humor, his humility, his courage, his strength, and how he's dealing with the condition, but importantly, how he's promoting the disease. I remember when I got diagnosed, my doctor said the only reference point really was Stephen Hawkins, which is not, when you're 30 years old, is not someone you really want to be drawing parallels with. If you look at the big man Doddie, and he's such a superstar, and he's living his best life. So I'm taking a lot of strength from that.
Davey, and right back at you, I think others are taking huge strength from you. The way you go about life is an inspiration, no matter what we've got. And recently you've brought a huge amount of joy to people, and you're really driving this team of Edinburgh. How much has your social media taken off? I mean, you must be inundated, are you?
Oh boy, I mean, I can't keep up, because I've got, I'm working full time. It's very busy with Brexit and everything else, and trying to keep up, getting the miles in, leading by example, and then keeping up the social media. It's a lot of fun, but it's quite a busy month, that's for sure.
But you're off your head, David. I mean, have you set yourself a target? What are you up to?
Yeah, no. So I've done just under 160 miles already. But I want to hit 1,000 miles for the month.
You're going to hit 1,000 miles. That's just That's bonkers, Davy. That is absolutely bonkers. But you're obviously enjoying it. You're getting a huge thrill out of this stuff.
No, I mean, absolutely love it. I suppose competitiveness aside, we're all driving forward collectively for the campaign. Which the reality is, the money we raise in this initiative is going to help me further down the line when my symptoms become more severe. So, no, I'm in this to win it. I'm throwing myself in it 100%. That's for sure.
And you've got a huge amount of support, and we're giving away captain's prizes for special people who are contributing to the team. And yours, as soon as you said the name, I just got a big silly smile on my face. It cracks me up. So go for it. Who's your captain?
There's one person I want to give a shout out to, and that's Naya, who's swimming in the North Sea every single day throughout January to raise money for Team Edinburgh. So thank you so much. She's raised about £800 already, so chapeau, and keep up the fantastic work. But there's one person I'd like to donate the 12-pack of beer, of Genius beer, to, and that's a guy who's been plugging and promoting Team Edinburgh more than anyone else. And a big thank you to Richard Ellis.
Yeah, Richard Ellis. And as you were building it up, his name was on the screen, and then it cut to Maya's name. But Richard Ellis has just been magnificent. He's the one who must be making your notifications ping, ping, ping all the time.
Ping, 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 ping. Yeah, my phone is. I've had to switch the vibration off. It's been, but he's been a terrific support, and his promotion of Team Edinburgh is absolutely fantastic. So a big thank you to him.
Richard Ellis is one of those guys who is going to support everything that happens. He, in the summer, I don't know if you knew, Davy, but Bowness Rugby Club, who are a fantastic community club, have all sorts of things going. They did a sponsored pedalo around the pond at the near the Kelpies. At the Helix, and Richard was there taking pictures, getting involved, absolutely top drawer. He is a great guy and very supportive of everything that's going on. So I was delighted when you came up with that name, because I know Richard a little bit. Now you've got, at the moment, I'm looking at your total here, 75 grand.
Which is astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And we're only 1 week in, and that's the most exciting thing. It's important to keep the motivation up, keep the pressure on, and keep the miles, keep the memberships growing. But of course, raising that fundraising total too. So I want to thank everyone who signed up for Team Edinburgh already for the fantastic work they're doing.
You've got 105,000 miles.
Yeah, so I think we've been a busy bunch, Team Edinburgh, and I think that total of miles is only going to grow. Yeah,
I'm just delighted with that. It's great, Davy. Now, we want to create a bit of drive here. You're on 3,000, 100 members. We're going to bring in another one of the captains who needs very little introduction, but he needs a bit of support, Davy. You might have to give him a bit of help with how to recruit people, because these numbers are down. Let's bring in the one and only Mr. Jim Hamilton, who is the captain of the Scottish Exiles. He can choose from the whole world.
Whole world.
Jim, you've got the whole world in your hands. How are you this evening?
Well, I am slightly embarrassed, to be honest, listening to Davey. Not so much John, because I know that he's only walked about 3 miles. And he's trying to say that he's run about 15 or 20. But watching Davey's social media post almost go viral and obviously feature on national television, and the amount of miles and the amount of money, I'm slightly embarrassed. But I've got excuses that I can run through if you're happy for me to put that out to the millions on here.
Go for it. What's been happening?
Well, Rob Wainwright signed me up. I was an early bird for the sign-up when I knew that this was happening. So I was kind of helping in the recruitment drive, like saying who I think has got the leadership credentials, having been vice-captain of Scotland many a time. Mentioned John Barclay, Kelly Brown. Your name was thrown in there, Davey, as well. So I thought, okay, it's a good crew. And then the recruitment process started, right? And Rob's like, who have you got? I was like, I've got Mike Tyndall, got Zara Phillips. I'm chatting to the wider rugby communities. Like, you pass their details on. I was like, yeah, of course. And anyone who watched the team numbers and kind of all the teams, inter-district teams form, they noticed the numbers just got more and more. And the Scottish Exiles, we were flying, absolutely flying. Then all of a sudden, everyone started overtaking us. And Rob was putting these smiley emojis, not that I knew that he knew what an emoji was. And apparently he'd been recruiting them after I'd said, I was saying basically you need to get involved. I wasn't as probably as
Excuses.
Oh no, I've got a million more excuses as well that we can go through. But Davey, that flying somersault of us on your snowboard. If I wasn't in lockdown, I'd do it. I really
Jim,
would.
anytime you give me a call and we'll head up there, we'll do one together.
No, never. You're never going to get a call from me.
that would have to be a massive snowboard, Jim.
Yeah, well, you can imagine. Anyone who saw me play rugby, I wasn't the most gifted or athletic, so I might struggle to even stand up. But I'll have a go if it's for a good cause, Davey. But well done, mate.
So the message, Davey, is look out, the exiles are coming for you, because Jim's going to recruit the rest of the world. He's even getting royalty in there.
I know. The exiles are nipping our heels, so we need to stay vigilant, Team Edinburgh.
Good man, Davey. Brilliant to see you. Keep up the absolute nonsense. You're an absolute inspiration. Keep it going, big fella. Love you.
Cheers, Bruce. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Davey. Good man.
Ciao.
Jim from the Exiles.
I've had a shocker. I'll be honest. I'm like, I've genuinely taken it personally. I don't know whether it's because I've got nothing to do or whether I see Barclay walking up and down the Water of Leith and I'm doing 50 miles a day on my watt bike, sweating and lonely as anything. So there's a competitive part of me that isn't very happy.
Right. Well, here's the bit about lonely. Everybody wants to know, where's Andy Good?
Well, look, without stereotyping, great podcaster, okay? He's not a man that's into his training. Genuinely, I spoke to him and said, look, man, I need you to start posting something. And he's basically, I know he's having ankle surgery. He's carrying 10 extra stone than when he played. So he's genuinely having ankle surgery next week. So I've lost him. But again, listen to Davy's strategy. The management team on paper looks fantastic. Let me just tell you who I've got on the management team.
This is a quality management team.
It is. So obviously myself as captain, who else? Ladies captain, we've got Laura Winter. Vice captain, Mel Nichols. She's on the call. Team manager, Lord Mike Tyndall. And then we've gone further than that. We've recruited even more. So we've got defence coach, Keith Senior, the one and only from Rugby League legend. We've got backs coach, Nolly Waterman, England fullback, former England fullback, ladies. We've got a Swift advisor as well. The captain's not even on Swift with Austin Healy. He's doing that. But the main person who is going to get some of these sent to him, the Genius Beers, is the recruitment consultant of mine, who is John Beattie, who has just gone full noise and ran with it. So he's got Francois Pinard on board. He's got a load of other rugby lads. I don't need to name anymore. We've got Francois Pinard. So Michael Liner. So we've got some great names, but the thing is, a lot of people, Bruce, they don't understand what Scottish Exiles means. So basically, they only thought they could sign up if they were Scottish. So I got in contact with London Scottish, with Hong Kong Scottish, and them teams got involved, but they got involved with the teams of where they're from or where their heritage or their history lies. Not many people are in exile like me.
I'm actually going to back you up on this one, because Rona Lloyd, Scottish winger, absolute off a shovel, plays for Loughborough Lightning. She signed up for Edinburgh, but one of the Loughborough Lightning girls signed up for Northern Midlands because she's from Loughborough, which she thought was the Midlands.
There you go. So So my job, I am making excuses. So leadership delegation. So I've delegated John Beattie to go out there, because I was messaging people left, right, and centre. They're like, "Yeah, I've signed up." I was like, "Well, I've not seen you." They're like, "No, I'm with the Northern Mids, or I'm with Edinburgh." I was like, "Why have you done that? I've signed you up." So
right.
There we go.
But all that said, look at the numbers. Almost 75 grand raised.
Phenomenal.
Which when we bring them on, that's more than Kelly Brown.
Well, it's a thing then. It's a lot of money. Either way, it's a lot of money.
And you're not a kick in the backside off Edinburgh for money. So although you might be few, you are minted.
Well, that's the thing, Bruce. At the end of the day, it's not about the amount of people that you have on your team. It's about at the end of it. If I've got to sit on this watt bike for 3 days straight to get to the top, I'll probably struggle to beat the Northern Mids now. Not that I'm throwing the towel in early, but it was like playing against New Zealand. You knew you had no chance when you played against them. So I'm at that point now.
Especially with the backs you had.
So bad. So bad.
I love it. I can't believe you missed that chance. Usually you never miss that chance.
Yeah, I know. It's not about me anyway. It's about the situation we find ourselves, it's quite phenomenal, actually. It's quite humbling to be a part of something, because I've done a bit of charity stuff for my mate Matt Hampson, his foundation. Involved with some of the stuff that Doddie does. I help produce his podcast, the Doddcast, as well, but on a kind of wider scale, you know, where you really get into it. And it was great listening to Davy. He's obviously really emotionally engaged as well. It's fantastic. And I think we all need something at the minute, you know, whether it is to raise money, whether or not it's to raise awareness, whether it's to do something for our own mental and physical well-being in this ridiculous time that we find ourselves in. So I think we're throwing that all into the pot. And look, we're sat here laughing, which is a great thing. And I think, you know, when I think about Doddie and I think about my experiences with him over my career, watching him the 97s Lions tour and transitioning into this kind of media world, Doddie's always someone that I've looked at because never takes himself too seriously, makes you laugh. What more do you want in life than to laugh? And even in the situation we find ourselves in now and listening to on the TV and on the podcast that he does, and he came on our podcast to raise some more kind of awareness for this, and basically he was on a recruitment drive for me. He just, you know, just the way he goes about his life for me is a true inspiration. So I'm really humbled to be on board with it, and you know, naturally being the natural captain leader that I am, I was asked to be captain by Rob Wainwright, another legend. So I'm happy.
Another legend from the 97 Lions. But Jim, do you think you and the other captains and the management teams realise how important it is to us to be associated with you guys and be in the same team? Do you get that, or is that just too humble?
Well, I know I've got Jim the Legend Hamilton. Mike Tyndall told me to put that as my manager. I would never have done that. No, I don't know. The thing is about rugby, right? And I think, again, this is the thing about Doddie. He makes it so accessible, but rugby, you know, still now there's a kind of soul and a heartbeat around rugby where it is everyone's game, right? And the game's obviously gone professional now, and I know some of the ex-professionals on here, like I saw Andy Nicol put something up there. He's part of the old school, right? Still, where, you know, the Hastings and stuff, where there's that accessibility. The guys are professional now. I was at Saracens the back end of my career. There almost is this kind of elitist thing that's creeping in, which is moving the fans away from the players, away from the pitch. And I really hope that doesn't happen, because the special bond with rugby that binds us all together is the fact that it's everyone's game. You know, regardless of where you come from, what background you are, what your story is. And again, you know, that's part of this. You've got myself, John Barclay, obviously Kelly Brown as well. We're just, you know, just normal people. You know, yourself, Bruce, as well. It's just, yeah. So
I'll take the normal bit. You guys have done a lot more. But Jim, that's a whole other podcast. But the inspiration that Doddie has given to people like you is brilliant for us to hear, because we're thinking the same and we're taking inspiration from you. Is there anyone in your team other than John Beattie who maybe is deserving of a few cans of genius?
Yeah, well, I wrote a few down, actually. And again, you mentioned the money, £75,000 and growing. It's ridiculous, you know, because the amount of money that is being raised is obviously across all the teams. It's all going to go into one big pot. And again, without banding too much on, you look at the stuff that's happening now with the virus and the fact that the vaccine has been accelerated. And again, believe it or not, I'm not a scientist. I don't understand any of that stuff. But I think the warming thing for me is how quickly they've managed to pull resources together. A lot of it comes down to funding, and they've managed to find a vaccine. Okay, whether or not that works long term, I don't know. Again, I'm not a scientist. So there's obviously a way of accelerating things, right? And raising money is the way forward, because it's going to raise awareness, but then ultimately it's going to raise funds to try and get these scientists to try and find a cure. So without labouring on too much about that, yeah, some unbelievable people. I've picked out one guy. I hope I get his surname correct, but I'll maybe say it twice. So Matthew Townley, or Toonley, if he is Scottish, but he lost his father to MND in the autumn. He's thrown himself all into the fundraising, and he's raised more than £3,000 so far, and that's in a week into this challenge. So Matthew, phenomenal, mate. You know, your story as well, obviously emotionally engaged, so keep doing what you're doing. And Genius Beer, craft beer, will be sending a crate of 12, hopefully still a bit cold, and they'll be cold on your doorstep.
Nice one. And it's brilliant when you hear things like that, isn't it? Because I bet Matthew's getting a huge amount out of this from being involved and feeling like he's doing something, and getting a shout out from Jim the Legend Hamilton on a Zoom call on a Thursday night.
What would be good is, Rob, what were you thinking, mate, doing it in January? It's like -3. So I think we do something in the summer where we can maybe, we can get kind of some big get together or something. Would be nice, wouldn't it?
An awesome finish line. Everybody comes through the finish line, and then there's just the marquee to do as we do in rugby when we're finished something.
Yeah, music, people, food, dance, laugh. Oh, how good. I'm dreaming.
Oh, totally. Well, talking of dreaming, and you've mentioned Saracens, and you've mentioned your old mucker. Let's bring in the pretend Ouija, Mr. Kelly Brown, captain of Glasgow, who's been waiting in the wings. There he is. I can't believe you're giving us this Ouija chat, Kelly Brown.
I'm Glasgow through and through. I've lived here for about 4 months, so that's me converted. Yeah, I'm full on Glasgow. So when Rob actually asked me to do it, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Which team? And he said, I'd like it to be Glasgow. I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. I was like, you are aware that I've lived here for 3 months and I don't know anyone in Glasgow. Yeah.
You do know, Kelly, you do know, Bruce, that Kelly he should be Scottish exiles. Kelly, I only found out late into my career, is a fraud. He's not even Scottish. Did you know that?
Oh,
is this Grannygate? Is this Grannygate?
No, it's not Grannygate. His mum's Irish. His dad's Irish. His mum's English. He has got. So if you were to cut Kelly open, there is 0 Scottish blood. None. Not even a dot. He
played at Melrose, Jim. He played at Melrose, and
exactly played at Melrose.
Melrose get away with anything. Melrose get away with whatever.
Kelly, I owned a Scotty dog, mate. I owned a Scotty dog as a kid, so that makes me more Scottish than you.
Well, that's how you played for Scotland. I think your dad. I think he had a can of Iron until you qualified.
Hey, Jim's as Scottish as they come. That's why he's back up here. He's fighting the good fight.
You can tell by his accent.
Before we let Jim go, and before we embarrass you, Kelly, with Jim's low numbers of participants but nailing the miles and the fundraising, we cannot let you two go without singing a song.
Well, this is the thing. Is this an hour? Can I just tell a quick story about Kelly?
Absolutely, 100%.
And I'll let Kelly sing it out because I'm just conscious that it's going back and forth. So me and Kelly were chatting about it. So again, Andy Nichols on here. I don't know whether Rob's on here, but me and Kelly a few years ago got invited to one of these old enemy dinners at the Balmoral. Lovely, real posh gig. I felt absolutely comfortable turning up to this place. Right, Kelly was like shitting himself before. He was like, "No, I don't think we should go." I was like, "Why not?" It's like for all the old boys that won the Calcutta Cup when the game was amateur. I was like, "Mate, we're playing. Mate, we're in." So we got asked to go up on stage and speak. And Kelly will tell you, he's obviously done incredibly well with his after dinner speaking, with his backstory, but gets nervous before speaking. And believe it or not, so do I. And so we were about to go up on stage. Doddie was hosting. They had Peter Winterbottom on stage with Lewis Moody. And Kelly's like, "Mate, I'm shit myself." I said, "Don't worry, mate. I'll warm them up." I said, because like all the old crowd was like 60s. Like they wanted to hear the Calcutta Cup being kicked down Princes Street. That's all they wanted, right? They didn't want to hear about the professional era, the money come into the game. So I was like, "Cal, I've got it," because Doddie's got this line that he kind of warms the crowd up at these dinners. I've heard it all before. So I'm going to go in there, warm them up, and then you're in. Like I'll fire them up. So Doddie introduces us on stage, comes up, and then part of Doddie's thing was around, he got 61 caps for Scotland, never beat England, but he beat Spain. Right, so I was like, "Great, I'm in here, Cal. I've got it." So I've got up on stage. I'm like, "Doddie, thank you for the warm welcome, Scottish legend." Like, place claps because So I'm like, I'm getting them. I said, "It's really interesting, Doddie." I said, "Because you're a Scottish legend. 61 caps for Scotland's amazing. Never beat England, but you beat Spain." I says, "Well, I'm gonna go a couple better, Doddie. 63 caps for Scotland." I said, "Never played against Spain, but I beat Georgia and Romania a couple of times."
Nice.
I said, and drew against England a couple of years ago. I said, "Doddie, you're going to go down as a Scottish legend. That means I'm going to go down as a Scottish Hall of Famer." Not one person. Not even. You can hear a pin. I'm not joking. You could hear a pin drop. I was like, Kelly, you're in. And Kelly had this unbelievable story about his eyebrows and his name, and it just, it got to Peter Winterbottom talking about the Calcutta Cup being kicked down the street, and everyone erupted. And we've never been invited back. So.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. It didn't go down that well. But I thought I'd sing a song. So Jim got married a few years ago, and so I thought I'd sing a little snippet of the song that I actually sang at his wedding. It was first dance song. So yes, I thought I'd sing a little bit of that. So okay, I'm not sure sort of how well it comes across. If it doesn't
just go for it. Just go for it. Kelly Brown is singing to us on a Thursday night. So. Just go for it.
Mustang Sally, guess you better slow that Mustang down.
Yeah.
Mustang Sally, now baby, guess you better slow that Mustang down. Well, you've been running all over town. Oh, I guess you better put your flat feet on the ground. Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I look the part, Cal. Well done. I look the part.
Yes.
Exactly.
Nailed it. Well, Jim, are you in your podcast studio, or is this? I like the effect behind you.
Real brick.
It's garage.
The garage.
I'm sure one of the women in Coronation Street used to have that wallpaper, didn't she?
Retro. All comes back round.
Jimbo, brilliant to see you. Thanks for coming, and we'll try and get some more recruits for your Team Exiles.
Lost the camera. Right, cheers. Thanks,
cheers,
guys.
Jimbo. Great to see you. Kelly Brown, great to see you. How are things?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. So it's yes, I moved back up to Glasgow after being down south for came back up, and it's been great to get into this. You know, one of the big things is because, as I said, I'm just back here. I'm sort of new into the area. Actually, getting out on the bike and running is actually a good way to explore the place. I ran through the Clyde Tunnel a few days ago. I don't know if you have ever been in the Clyde Tunnel, but it is the scary. It's got to be one of the scariest places on earth. It's like a scene from Saw. Just this massive sort of long corridor with sort of white walls and paint sort of peeling off it. It's a terrifying place, but it's been great to get out and to explore a bit.
So you ran quite fast through there, I take it.
I genuinely. So I was running through, and it goes down and then up on the far side. And I was running down. I got to climb out, and it's pretty steep. And I heard something, which is probably a car. I don't know. Just this noise, this sort of echo. And I am sprinting up this hill to try and get out the far side as fast as I could. It's a terrifying place. And I'm 38. I'm 38 and I'm frightened to go in the Clyde Tunnel. But now, as I said, it's been great to get out.
Good. And I'm loving this comment from Gareth High. Kelly has a face for the Masked Singer, I reckon. Now, I don't know if that's an insult or what, but you'd be awesome on the Masked Singer. It's
very kind of you to say so, but it is 100% an insult. He's one of my mates. He's a uni mate, so he's a Murray House boy, as you are.
Okay, yeah.
And yes, I told him about this, and he's seen this as an opportunity to try and publicly shame me. So it's very kind of him to jump on board.
Well, I reckon we need to start a campaign. You would be awesome on the Masked Singer.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Well, hey, I'm available. I'm available if called upon.
I'm pretty sure Danny Wilson would give you a Saturday off to go down to do the Masked Singer. Surely.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
That's the good thing with Friday night games, and then get down for the Masked Singer on a Saturday.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like it's meant to be.
I reckon that's it. We've got to get onto that one. That would be gold. Kelly, so you talked about being down south at Saracens. You've come back up to Glasgow. Did you have to get out of Saracens before they raked around your bank accounts, or?
Oh, there we go. Go. I knew it was coming at some point. Okay, I knew it was coming at some point. You know, the only thing I was shocked about that is I didn't realise, how much players got paid. I was gutted. I was gutted that I wasn't mentioning players. I was like, really? Oh well. But now, listen, it's an amazing club, and I'm sure, and they'll come back. I know they will.
Oh, absolutely! They're too good to stay down. Now
absolutely.
you've been loving being involved in this, and obviously Melrose man. Doddie pretends he's from Melrose, but actually he's from Cortal Ferry. But because Stow didn't have a rugby team, so he had to go to Melrose. So what does the big man mean for you and your family? I know your brother. So I'm sure Doddie's had an impact on you guys.
Oh, he's a legend of a guy, an absolute legend. So as you said, I was a Melrose man. I used to ball boy for Doddie. When I was a kid, so I used to ball boy on the Saturday at Melrose. Back in the days when Melrose got crowds of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, like unbelievable crowds. And so he was always an inspiration alongside all of the Melrose team because they won everything in the 90s. So he was certainly an inspiration. And then I was fortunate enough, as I was coming into the pro game, I actually played alongside Doddie. So I think I was involved in his last ever game. And that was just amazing. This guy, an idol, a legend, a Scottish legend, a Lions legend. I'd watched the Living with the Lions, which he was a star of that. And so to get to play alongside him was just unbelievable. Fortunately, I didn't take any of his training habits because he wasn't a fan of training that hard. He wasn't a fan of training that hard. He always used to say to me, a game that isn't played in the gym. I was like, well, it's quite important. Nah, it's not, son. It's not, son. Like, okay, Doddie, okay. To get to play alongside him was just unbelievable. And then to see what he's done over the last 2 years after the diagnosis has been incredible. His positivity, his drive, the amount of money that he's helped to raise is phenomenal. And I just really, really hope that we can raise even more and sort of kick on with the research because I believe, we're not far away from finding a cure.
And you're obviously been involved at the highest level of the pro game, Saracens. You're now back with Glasgow. Do you think the current players look at Doddie and do they know he was an absolutely brilliant rugby player who played for the Lions, or do they see Doddie Weir as this MND campaigner, fundraiser, funny guy, inspiration? Do you think we're now at a generation who didn't know Doddie the player?
Well, potentially, but I do think, as I said, I had a tweet a few years ago after Doddie came onto the All Blacks game and he handed over the match ball, and just what an incredible moment, a moving moment. And I just put it, everyone loves Doddie Weir. And it's so true. We've got academy boys that are 18, 19, and they love him. We've got older players and they love him. We've got coaches that love him. We've got physios that love him. Everyone loves him. And that's why I believe he's been able to raise so much money, because he's just a legend, yes, of a rugby player, but also as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to hear some of those things that the young team still know who he is. I'm just looking at your stats here, Kelly. Almost 3,000 members. Glasgow's a big place. Come on, man.
Well, the problem is, right. Okay, the problem is, and it's already been spoken about. Okay, Edinburgh, we're coming for Edinburgh. Okay, that's the first thing that I got to say. Okay, we're coming for Edinburgh. North and Midlands. So there's people saying the people from the Midlands of England are signing up for North and Midlands. Okay, so probably, let's say, about half of the people that have signed up are phony. Okay, Scottish Exiles. Okay, so the Scottish Exiles have got the whole of the world. Okay, even the south. Even the south. So they say anyone south of Edinburgh qualifies for the south. Okay, so they just sort of sign up all these people as well. I'm on a fitness group with Rory Lawson, and it's this guy. He's a Welsh guy, a legend of a guy that does these online sort of fitness circuit classes. A guy called Craig Hawkins, and I'm on this group, and there's probably 80 or 90 people. And so I asked him, says, okay, if I share this and say to everyone that if you've heard of Glasgow, please sign up to Team Glasgow. So I put it on. Within 6 seconds, Rory Lawson has jumped on because he's also on the group and said, it's a brilliant thing. By the way, if you live anywhere south of Glasgow, you can sign up for the South. 80% of the bloody people have signed up for the South. I'm like, this wasn't part of the deal. So he's come on and absolutely killed me on that. But you know, we've got a few plans in place. We've got Emma Dodds as the ladies' captain. You know,
Emma's
brilliant broadcaster.
Yeah,
and so she's been pushing it hard. Al Kellick is the king of Glasgow, and so we've got a few ideas, you know, to get the schools involved, which is great. And then our manager is Super Ali.
McCoist.
Super Ali McCoist.
Ali McCoist. Now, I'm a Hibs fan, and even I love Ali McCoist.
Like, what a legend of a guy. To encourage, though, in saying that, you know, I'd also like to encourage, you know, the green side of Glasgow to get on board as well. Okay, so you've got to have both sides of Glasgow. Would be absolutely fantastic. But Ali McCoy, so Super Ali, what a legend. So I'd encourage everyone that can to sign up to Team Glasgow because it's not over yet, and we'll keep on pushing.
See, you got to be careful now because if you go and recruit John Collins, Rory Lawson will swoop in because John Collins is for Gala. So be very careful. Careful.
Exactly. I'll just not tell him. I mean, to be fair, Jim said it's the same as Rob's been doing. So Rob's been asking, also, who are you signing up and that sort of stuff? Any chance I could get their number? And then he just swoops in and gets them anyway, you know. So there's a bit of tactics, definitely. I've probably been too open and honest with those guys. So I just got to sort of I'll just focus on the team.
It's become dog eat dog by the sounds of things, Kelly. You're too nice a guy. It's time to start biting these guys. They're at it. So Kelly, every captain has been choosing someone who is deserving of a little pick me up. 12 cans of genius. Who have you selected as your captain's winner?
So I've selected Liam McLaughlin, who with alongside Shannon Frame. I'm not sure if it's his wife, his girlfriend, his friend, or whatever, but they have pledged to walk 100 miles over the month. They have so far raised £1,382.50, which either they're doing incredibly well, or they set their goal incredibly low because they're up at 553% of their goal, which is amazing. Yeah, but hopefully it keeps on going. And also, and to Liam, and so the reason why he's so passionate is because his dad was diagnosed with MND. And so it's fantastic what he's doing. I looked at a lot of the comments. He's got a lot of family, a lot of friends that are incredibly proud of him. And so him, I want to say a massive, massive thank you.
Well done, Liam. Absolutely fantastic. If you can get in touch with Genius to get your beer delivered. Kelly, do you think that people are finding this group and the team element of this, bringing them closer in a time where we're pretty far away?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the great thing about it. And especially at this time, I thought, especially when the schools went into lockdown, and so obviously the kids aren't at school, it just brings everyone together. It gives everyone a goal. It gives everyone the chance to do something positive in the world at this time, and that's absolutely incredible. So I think the timing, even though it's freezing, and if you go out for a run, you've got to be incredibly careful not to fall over and cowp and break a leg or whatever. It's a brilliant thing. It's a brilliant thing, you know, to get everyone active and get everyone pulling together to hopefully make a massive difference in the fight against MND.
We're going to have to get subtitles for Jim. He's got no idea what cowp is.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, exactly. You know, that's the point in case. That's the point in case is what he was saying before.
So, Kelly, you've already given him a little mention. So it sounds like we need to bring him in here. Your Glasgow team they're gunning for Edinburgh. Edinburgh's their next target. But let's bring in the snake in the grass, Mr. Rory Lawson. Hello, sir.
Hello. Good evening, lads.
Good to see you. Now, when we did our little rehearsal, or not rehearsal, but our meet-up before we kicked in, you were on the bike. You were putting in a bit of a shift about an hour ago. So how much did you contribute to the overall total, Rory?
I think it was maybe 24 miles or something.
Nice.
So it was 24 miles. 24 miles. A quick Zwift sesh. Few laps, but all good. It's funny to hear Kelly talking about me nicking people. Kelly actually asked if he could join our team because he is a borderer and knew that there was a significantly better chance of winning. So he says he feels much more comfortable in the yellow and black of Melrose. So I don't know if it's too late to call, but any Glasgow fans who are on board at the moment maybe question the captain.
Well, I think there's questioning about the eligibility of a few of the captains. Luckily, Davy Oliver from Aitchison saying it's the Voices Grandbairn. He's missed the apostrophe, but we'll not give him a hard time for that. So, well, exactly. Rory, how on earth did you end up captain of the South?
Rob Wainwright's clearly a brilliant marketeer. As he rang me and said, Doddie would like you to captain his team.
Oh, yes.
And there is nothing else that can be said. So immediately I said yes. Then I found out that Jill Douglas was ladies captain. So what a superstar she is. And then obviously Doddie manager, and they've reeled in Joe's husband Carl Hogg as well. So it's fantastic. We've got the WhatsApp group for the South set up, and so we can see the arguments between Jill and Hoggy through WhatsApp now. They're using myself and Doddie as mediators, so it's all it's working well.
Is there a bit of marriage therapy going on WhatsApp? Is there?
No, they're a fantastic pair. As you'll have seen if you're on Twitter, Jill's racking up her miles around Cheltenham Racecourse. She's got the whip out on Hoggy on the rowing machine, so they're a dream combo.
So Kelly, have you got a parting shot for Rory before we let you go?
Well, all I know is that Rory wouldn't last 5 seconds in Hoyk on a Saturday night. That's pretty much. That's pretty much all I know.
Hey, Kelly, I'm half Hoyk. Never forget that. I'm half Hoyk.
Yeah, that is true. Although it seems unlikely, that is true.
Yeah, 50% Hoyk me. I can turn it on when I'm down the high street.
I would love to see that. I would love to witness. I would love to see you and your brother on the high street in Hoyk on a Saturday morning.
Yin Pothrai.
There you
go. Be all good.
There you go. Kelly, brilliant to see you.
Saturday night. Cheers.
Great to see you, Kelly. All the best to Glasgow.
Cheers, Bruno.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck tomorrow night. Cheers, fella. So, Captain, you are doing pretty well with the South. Are you happy with the way things are going?
Delighted. Yeah, I think that the South have united, and what better man to get behind? I think at the moment, as the majority of the lads have alluded to, it would be really easy to come into January and be miserable and put into another lockdown and all the challenges that we're all facing. But I think it's given us all a bit of a purpose, and I think the people of the South have got mad for it, which is fantastic. And the recruitment has not stopped yet and won't stop. Every mile counts, every pound counts, and we're planning a surge in the next few days.
Well, talking of miles, you've done 160,000 miles. That's absolutely mad.
It is mad. It is actually mad. I think it was Bart said earlier on, and Jim, it's genuinely a privilege to be involved and to be given the tag of captain. It's significantly easier captaining a bunch who are clocking up the miles than it was captaining my country, whereby you've got a bunch of lads. You can take the horse to the water, but in the case of the South, they're going for it, even given the Arctic conditions that have come in over the past week or so.
It's I know the town of Hoyk, which we've already mentioned. There's heaps going on down there. I know Davy Oliver's got the kids going in Hoyk, and Wilton Park must be getting lap after lap after lap. You're on £92,000, and we're only just over a week in.
Yeah, that's amazing. It is amazing, and we have a bit of fun on social media and so on, and I think ultimately and fundamentally it comes down to the money that's being raised, and charities in general at the moment. It's really difficult because so many charities rely so much on events and pulling together communities to be able to, sell seats at dinners or auctions or whatever. So to be able to continue to fundraise for, the My Name is Doddie charity is fantastic through what is a challenging month and a challenging time for everybody. So it's brilliant to be building this community, building a team, be part of something, and to get behind the big man. I feel like we're just doing our little bit to try and help in this search for a cure to MND is really satisfying, and we've only just scratched the surface so far.
And you've got the big man on your team. That almost seems like it's not fair teams.
Yeah, I think his call on Lorraine yesterday. Hopefully, had a few more on board. What a woman she is.
Lorraine off the telly, Lorraine.
Yeah, it was actually the screen debut for my wife, actually, because the two of us were caught on camera running into the sea in North Berwick to do the Looney Duke.
For your Looney Duke on New Year's Day.
Yeah, but no, you know what? I think this is Doddie. To have Doddie as our team manager is special, and I think the way that everybody gets behind the big man, whether on whatever team they are, whilst we all say we want our team to win, we genuinely don't care if people sign up and just join themselves to a team. Chuck a few quid in the hat, get yourself a bandana or a snood, and be part of this. Clock up the miles, get healthy while you do it. And I just think, the guys have alluded earlier on, Kelly coaching at Glasgow, and the professional rugby guys who are involved. You've seen the likes of Hamish Watson at Edinburgh, seen Grieg from Japan getting involved. Those guys are in such a privileged position, and if we want to try and get the rugby community and the wider community who want to support MND involved, because right now is a really testing time for amateur sport. Amateur sport can't train at the moment. They can't play games. They can't ultimately do what, they can't get a hold of the team element. So for us, it's trying to get a hold of these people and get them involved and try and give them a bit of a purpose through January, the first week of February, and who knows, we may continue onwards from there. And
our mum and dad signed up?
Oh, they're kind of torn a little bit between the North and Midlands, up in Dollar and the South, but don't worry about that. They're on board. My wee sister's clocking up the miles. My brother's reeled in a few as well. My cousin Jim's, out there doing a few miles in the Perthshire Hills as well. So it's brilliant. It's been a great way of creating a bit of banter. People are thoroughly enjoying challenging themselves, which I think is a brilliant thing for January. And if we can raise a few quid along the way, it's fantastic.
You're not telling me your cousin Jim has signed up for the South, though? That cannot be. Jim, no way has he signed up for the South.
Jim's half Hoik.
I love this. This is going to become a new thing. I'm half Hoik.
if any, I mean, that is part of my marketing. If anyone feels the need or has a desire to be half Hoik, for me to have, if you've ever heard of Bill McLaren, join the South. If you've ever heard of Doddie Weir, join the South.
I love
it. You don't even have to have heard of Hoik.
That is the recruit. Tracy Goodfellow. I'm going to give Tracy Goodfellow a shout out because she's from Langham. She's a muckle tuner, and the great town of Langham are definitely in the south, and they're getting behind it. So I'm delighted with that. I love going there. Roddy Gladstone, Pale Mercs all the way. He was a braw lad. Roddy Gladstone was a braw lad. Oh, there you go. Greg Dalglish couldn't resist. Couldn't resist, but also can't spell and doesn't like capital letters. So we're going to skirt over that one, Greg. Rory, each captain has been given away a prize of 12 cans of Genius to someone that deserves it. So who is your nomination?
Well, I had a few that were in the hat, and it's been brilliant seeing some of the interactions on the socials and so on. Norman Baker, who is Norm Tyne on Twitter, he's been out on his bike in the northeast of England, so he's counting himself as a borderer in all conditions. Annabelle Howell on Twitter, James Scott on Instagram. But my nomination is our top fundraiser so far, Tim Patterson Brown, who has raised just about $2,500 so far in his first week. So it's phenomenal effort from everybody involved, and I can only doff my cap for all of them. Keep up the good work.
Brilliant. So Tim Patterson Brown is the South captain's winner this week for a lot of fundraising. Now, there's a bit of debate because you think he's from Hawick, and I'm thinking there's no chance a boy with a double-barreled name can be for Hawick.
Well, I'm reliably informed that his old boy was the GP in Hawick. What was the other information I was given on him? Rob Wainwright gave me a bit of information. Here we go.
That'll be reliable.
Father was a GP in Hawick, brother a surgeon, sister a doctor, and the other brother a school pal of mine. ... I won't continue the rest of the message.
It's a stitch up. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Rory, it's always brilliant to see you. It's great to hear how inspired you are by by Doddie, and you are inspiring others. You're one of the most likable men with a microphone. It's always good to see you at Murrayfield, and we love your chat. Have you got one last rallying call for members of the South or potential members of the South?
You know what? I've got a rallying call for everybody, and it's for everybody who might be watching this call to go onto their phones now and reel in 10 people each, and ask them to reel in 10 people each, and ask them to reel in 10 people each, because this is a numbers game ultimately, and ideally sign up to the South. If you've ever heard of Doddie Weir, then the South is your team. But you know, in the big picture, we just want everybody to get behind Doddie's foundation, the incredible work that they're doing, and give themselves a purpose for January and first week of February. And what better way to lead up to the first Calcutta Cup win at Twickenham since 1983, which is going to be the final day of the competition. So all aboard, Team South.
All aboard. Brilliant, Rory. Great to see you. Thanks very much for giving up your Thursday, and keep up the great work with Team South. Half Hawick.
Cheers.
Cheers, fella. Brilliant.
Cheers. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. I'm going to give a shout out to my old mate Andy Knight, who is dialing in from Belgium. Can't bring myself to join the Exiles, so he's back to his homeland of Northern Midlands. We absolutely love Andy Knight doing the good stuff, the missionary work in Belgium. Ladies and gentlemen, keep going, keep pounding out the miles, keep donating, keep recruiting people. You've heard the rallying calls from the captains. Lorraine for the TV. Lorraine from TV is involved. That's got to be good. Chris Hoy's in. Ali McCoist's in. Everybody's in. Tell your mum, your granny, your wee brother, your uncle. Get everybody involved, because this is the good stuff. It's bringing people together, and it's doing stuff for a good cause. Even if you just buy the snood, that's the good stuff. Get involved, and get involved on social media. Make sure you're making these captains' notifications go ping, ping, ping. Get them tagged in absolutely everything. I hope you've had a great night. A few thank yous to Genius for all the good stuff that they do, and the good support that they're giving the event, and to Doddie and to the foundation. Thanks to Sean Phelan, big handsome Sean from Fill Your Boots. He's the man who's produced this whole show. He's put it together. He's pushing the buttons. We love Sean. Give Sean a follow on Facebook and on Twitter and all those things. It's Fill Your Boots Rugby. He does good things in Clubland. To the captains that joined us tonight, what a great group of human beings. Great to have Jason on from Genius at the beginning. I feel very, very privileged to get to sit here and speak to these people, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. What we hope is that we'll be back. We want to come back with the ladies and the managers and the vice captains and all those people, and the engagement that you've given us in the comments and the questions has been absolutely first class. We love it, don't we? And why are we here? Well, we're here because of the game of rugby union and the great man that is Doddie Weir. Doddie is still inspiring us. He's still making things happen. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try and get involved to get a cure for this thing that is pretty horrendous? But when you've got inspiration like Doddie Weir, like our man Martin Johnson, who's picked up some genius tonight, and some of the other stories, get involved, folks. Come on, we can do this, and we can get this cure, and we can make things better for the future. Have a great Thursday night. It's been brilliant to see you. Happiness is egg-shaped for Doddie, isn't it? Doddie Aid, get involved. Doddie Aid, thank you and good night.